Forget it, bro. Let's just record. Assalamu
There's
alaikum
nothing to
rahmatullah.
record.
We have Ameen and this blurry character who's decided to stay anonymous using his bad internet
No,
connection.
don't blame my internet. My internet is perfectly fine,
That's
alhamdulillah.
true. My
It's
internet is the thing providing the anonymity.
it's a security measure that you've implemented.
Yeah, you see, you're looking a bit better now.
Slowly getting there, forcing it. It's been a while. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, man. Feeling quite good. Just been back in Turkey for 2 days. What
Oh
about
yeah.
you? How was your Eid?
Wow, we have to go back a bit for that, don't we? Eid. What did I do? I spent time with family, I think. It was nice. Alhamdulillah, yeah, it was good. Had a breakfast with family, and then we had a barbecue a few days later. It was a 3-day weekend for me. Yeah, brilliant. Can't complain.
You must have good Eids because you got quite a lot of family in the UK, right? Not
Yeah,
just in the
relatively good.
UK, but
Alhamdulillah.
in your city, same city as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, alhamdulillah, it was really good, and it's good for the family to get together. We don't see each other as often as maybe other families do, but when we do see each other, it's always nice. So, um, yeah, make the
Who
most
did
of
you
it.
see that you hadn't
Uh,
seen for a while and I don't know, you learnt something new or interesting or you were surprised by
oh,
something?
this sounds like a competency-based interview. Um, tell me about a time you met somebody you hadn't met in a while, and give me one thing you learned about them. Yeah, it was my cousin actually. I haven't seen him in probably like a year or something. What did I learn about him? Looks like he's put on a bit of muscle, I think. That's about it.
Okay. Not too much then.
Long
What
back.
about vice versa? Like, I don't know, sometimes you show up and you're different. Were you any different? Was anyone like, oh, what about that
I was
thing?
very occupied with my children, very occupied with my children. So we went to my auntie's house for a barbecue, and she lives on a like a marina where there's lots of boats.
Sick.
But there's no real barrier in front of her house and the water, right?
Right.
So yeah, as you can imagine, I've got kids running around all over the place. And at one point, Elias almost like just dove in because Suleiman was on the edge of the water just looking for crabs and stuff. And Elias just runs towards him and then gets there and does one of those classic Looney Tunes sort of like halts, but then starts wobbling, about to fall in. I was so far away that all I could do was watch. But I can't remember. I think either Suleiman stopped him or he managed to stop himself or somebody else stopped him. I can't remember who stopped him. Um, yeah, man.
What is that place like
Alhamdulillah.
in the winter? Because, like, I actually went to the sea. I went to your side of the country. Yeah. And
Really? You
I
didn't even
did,
tell me.
no, not that close, but kind of those, around
Close
those
enough.
ends. But I was like, yeah, this is nice. The weather's nice. But I was like, in the winter, this must be kind of, dreary. What is it like in the winter? Like right on the
Yeah,
sea.
it's freezing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's
Is it more
freezing. You know,
freezing
I
than
live on
like inland though?
I'm not sure. I haven't really spent too much time inland. I think that it can be colder inland, especially up north. But the issue you have here is the cold wind. You know, you're just getting the English Channel wind straight into your bones.
Hmm.
Especially if you're standing on the cliff tops, or I mean, we live pretty much on the cliff tops, so that's kind of the experience you're going to get. We've got a masjid down here in a little village called Peacehaven, which is quite a new masjid, only maybe a year or two old, and that's literally right on the edge. And when you're trying to go to the masjid there, you're just worried you're going to get blown away,
Mm.
especially if you're wearing a thobe or you're jilbabbed up or whatever. Um, yeah, so it's an incredible sort of location. Used to be a pub, now it's a masjid, as the story always goes.
Yeah. That's
So yeah,
become a
it,
cliche.
absolutely, east and west, north and south, bro. Masajid popping up everywhere.
Are those cliffs
Alhamdulillah.
like falling or like being eroded away or no?
Yeah, they do. There is always warning signs for falling rocks, and some areas of the cliff have like these metal sort of prongs that they put in there to try and compact the rock so it doesn't crumble as much. But yeah, you can't build right up on the edge, but you're as close as the edge as you can build, and
Mm.
that's where those properties and those the masjid is, for example.
I had an idea, yeah. I went to Land's End.
Okay, I have to Google that one. Don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is? That's
Land's
the
End.
end of the
No, but
UK, or of England at least.
north or south?
Southwest.
Southwest. All right, I'm southeast, so
Yeah, right on the tip
there you go.
of England, right? There's a place called Land's End where the land ends.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So I went there, and there's actually a hotel right there, like on the edge. And
Nice.
I thought, yeah, this place might not be here in 20 years because the cliff might just erode. Yeah. I was like, that's an
Hmm.
opportunity, because if if that really is happening, that it's
Yep.
eroding, maybe people would sell for cheap. So you buy it for cheap, you cash in for 10, 20 years, and then, hasta la vista, I guess.
Hasta la vista. Look at you always thinking business. How is business anyway? What are you up to these days? How's the front row? That's the one. I haven't asked you since we
The
last
front
spoke.
row is good, bro. Alhamdulillah, I'm enjoying it so much. We have a call every week, and the last few weeks I
Yep.
just lost track of time because I'm just enjoying it. People benefiting, people doing a lot of different things and trying to work together. We're, helping each other out with the different contacts we have and stuff. So it's good, bro. Alhamdulillah, I'm enjoying it. I might open it up soon for more people to join. I feel like maybe in Ramadan, people are a bit uh, preoccupied with ibadah, and so they're not focusing on other aspects of their life then. But now
Yep.
Ramadan is over. We still did a lot of good stuff in Ramadan, but after Ramadan, the focus becomes more, diverse. So yeah, we have
Yeah.
people trying to start a business, people trying to get married, people, what else? Trying to get in shape, whatever. So it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying it, alhamdulillah. And I
It's really good.
actually feel like since we talked about it right on the podcast, I've got like so many more ideas for it. And
Mm.
if I can implement these, like I'm not in a rush to implement them because I understand you have to get the core thing to be really good first, right? So these things that I
Yeah.
have ideas for, they're not part of the core thing, but they're very nice cherries on the top. And I've been looking at other similar businesses in other industries or for other types of people. And there's some really cool stuff. And I think these days when I think of business, I don't think of making money for myself today to pay the bills. I think about making an organization or an institution or something that would actually not rely on me. That's how I think about it now. I think about making a system. That's what a business is, Yanni, but a system for providing value that's not dependent on me. Although I might be driving a lot of it,
Yeah.
I might be providing a lot of the value, but build it in a way where, yeah, with or without me, this is going to run. With or without me, this can make enough money so that if I needed to be replaced, we could afford to hire someone to replace me. Those kind of ideas, And when you think more
Yeah.
long term like that, you think of hiring good people and um, trying to get those people to be loyal to the organization and really believe in it, so they stick around. Um, these are
Mm.
these are like I guess these are more like big boy problems, right? Like I always wondered why companies, the corporates and stuff, they're so obsessed with retention, employee retention, loyalty, values, and have a vision and all that. But now I get it, because once you go beyond making basic just money to survive and all that, it's like, okay, now how do we make sure this is around in 10 years? And that
Yeah.
once you have something people want to buy, and when they buy it, you actually deliver a good amount of value, the last step or stage is people, hiring the right people. And I think there are only those three things in business that matter. So
Yeah.
yeah. But with the front row, I'm not saying that
Absolutely.
I've cracked the code of selling it or delivering the value. It's so early. But I'm just saying that my mindset around business is more about long-term stuff these days, I guess.
Mm. Mm.
What
It's
about
that
you, bro?
power, I
How was
suppose, that
the
group.
how was the boot camp, or are you still doing the boot camp?
Yeah. So I've had oh dude, I've been so busy doing lots of different things, and every morning and every night. Every morning I wake up with a new idea. Every night I go to sleep with a new idea. There's been so many things going on. Yeah, it's definitely. I'm still going on with it. I've kind of shifted a little bit to uh, capitalizing on like low code web development because I realized that that's kind of more what I wanted and more what I need at the end of the day. Because I'm not necessarily looking to go into a full tech job career at some company. I'm more into freelancing and stuff with
Okay.
the plans that we've spoke about before about going abroad and stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I've had a few clients like reach out to me, and I'm just sort of in the early stages with them. Um, and also, if anyone follows me on Twitter and stuff, we've been going crazy with Mid Journey, we're crazy with AI generated art. Um, I put up I don't think we spoke about it before, put up a tutorial,
Yeah.
which has really been doing numbers, especially now, just the community in general. I put up I put together a little Discord community where we can all sort of work together and generate art together. And, every day is like a new idea and I just want to crack it. And I think at the end of the day, this is like cutting edge technology. So you're kind of, you see the opportunities just pop up every now and again. Um, what did we do like today? We were doing Nike shoes mock-ups using Midjourney.
Mm,
And I literally just thought, oh, do you know what? Let me just put a reel together and throw this on Instagram, which is what I literally just did before this course. So we'll see how that does.
mm.
Um, and just that kind of just trying to teach people how accessible it is. But yeah, it's just really cool. I just love the interest. Twitter's growing crazy for it, and yeah, I think the potential there for a lot of different creatives is phenomenal. I also had a little shout out from Freshly Grounded in his newsletter, which really helped in Faisal's newsletter. So yeah, alhamdulillah, everything's going very well.
Where did he
Um,
send people? To your Twitter or Instagram?
no, so he started using Midjourney a little bit for Freshly Grounded, some graphics and stuff for Freshly Grounded, and then there was a little note inside the newsletter that said, "Oh, Athlete Tweet's got a tutorial if anybody wants to learn how to do it."
Ah,
Right.
so straight
Um,
to the. Was it
and
Gumroad you used? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using Gumroad. I do love Gumroad. I know there's better alternatives, but I just love how integrated it is. I just like the look of it, and I've always used it. So whether I shift gears to another platform, we'll see in the future. Um, but yeah, it's just really fun. It's really fun, um, and I just love. I really wanted to put something together for anyone who did the tutorial. So not only did I put a tutorial out, I put out a pack of prompts like that I've used, 25 that I use regularly, completely free. If you don't want to pay anything, you don't have to. Um, you can download that. If you download either of the products, um, you get an invite to the Discord community where you can then work with us, work with the community, and just generating, sharing ideas and stuff. And straight away, I've already learned a few things from other people, and they're learning from me, and vice versa.
So
It's
is the
really fresh. I
community
literally
only
put it
for
together like
customers?
yesterday. At the moment, yeah, it's for people that have downloaded either the tutorial or the prompt pack. Whether I open it up a bit further later on remains to be seen.
Oh,
Only
so you have a
because I'm
prompt
not
pack, yeah?
necessarily. Yeah, it's literally just 25 images. It's like a PDF ebook, 25 images with the prompt underneath, and they're regular sort of there were regular prompts I would use on Twitter quite a lot. Um, it's literally pay what you want. You can pay £0, you can pay a pound, whatever. It varies. Some people have paid a couple of quid, some people paid a fiver, some people paid nothing. But it's just to get people, into getting stuff done, I suppose. And also, there's also the tutorial, um, which for those who literally have no idea what Midjourney is about and how to use it, I literally go through just the absolute basics, from how to generate images to how to the end result of, okay, I want it in a particular style of an artist. I want it in this particular aspect ratio. I want it to have this much detail or not that much detail. Just the core basics. And it's set on Midjourney version 5. Next month or a month after, version 6 might come out. I might have to redo it or tweak it here and there. But like I said, rapidly evolving technology. So trying to keep up, I suppose.
Yeah. I learned about something today, which is Runway. Have you heard of Runway?
Yeah. So I use Runway couple of weeks ago. But yeah, what have you seen for it?
So the interesting thing is they're coming out with this Gen 2, I guess version 2. And the thing that caught
Yep.
my eye was text to video,
Yep.
generating videos just from text prompts. And I thought, this is sick because
Yeah.
I thought maybe 4 months ago about there is demand for authentic Muslim stock footage, right? Like, I don't
Hmm.
know anywhere where I could find that. All of the Muslim stuff is made by kuffar, which is not authentic. It's all fake. It's like a
Yeah.
woman, the woman's wearing a scarf, but then when she moves her arm, you can see she's got tattoos all over her arm. It's like, come on, it's obviously an actress, Yanni. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, so yeah, I thought, yeah, there's demand for that. Like, that would be good. But then I thought, obviously, AI is going to get rid of the need or the viability of that business. And it took a while, but I think Runway's event is might, I don't know, it might already be there in terms of, generate me 5 seconds of a Muslim man on the mimbar shouting, and then you get that, So
Yeah.
that would be cool. That would be cool when it's fully polished.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's still quite early days, and it's still very like if you want to use the trial, it's still very, very short clips. I think you can make like 3 seconds. But for me, I see the uh, the interesting thing you can do with it is manipulating footage that you've already recorded in a quick
Yes,
way.
I saw
So,
that
for
as well.
example, I saw somebody he wanted to make he did like a cityscape shot that he already had and then turns it to like claymation. So it looked like it was made of Play-Doh or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's really cool. You could essentially shoot an entire thing yourself and then manipulate it very quickly with Runway, right?
Yes.
I think that's really where the potential lies. Because I think at the core of it, over the next few years, maybe, I don't think this stuff is going to get to a stage, or people won't even want it to get to a stage where it completely replaces content creators fully. I think what it could do is really expand the arsenal that people have to, um, you know, be more creative and adjust and influence their own work. So, people probably thought when Photoshop came out, that's the end of illustration or that's the end of, I don't know, manual photo editing, whatever used to exist prior. Um, but actually, what it ends up being is just another tool in a creative person's belt. The average Tom, Dick, and Harry isn't necessarily going to be jumping on Runway or jumping on Midjourney, right? The people that are going to be using it the most are people who are content creators and are creatives anyway, unless it gets integrated deeply into social media platforms. As we did before, with like you go on Instagram, pretty much everybody's got Instagram, and then they can just go, oh, let me put a filter on, or let me edit this video. You know, it's that democratization of it. At the moment, they're all standalone kind of softwares, a lot of them. But when they start getting integrated deeply into systems that pretty much everybody uses, that's when, the actual specific content creators or pros that, you know, for example, let's look at reels. All right. I just made a reel now on Instagram. In my head, I said, oh, let me make a reel quickly. And I opened up Premiere, but then I got really busy, didn't do it on Premiere. I just went on Instagram and did it in 10 minutes on Instagram
Mm,
through their own video editing integrated thing, right?
yeah.
Um, and now they've got templates, which I just noticed. So you can just grab someone else's template and put in replace whatever pictures they've got with the pictures you've got. Um, so yeah, it's becoming easier and easier. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be people that are intimidated by that kind of tech, intimidated by content creation, and they're always going to need an expert to, to do that for them, and they're willing to pay for that.
Yeah. And that's where most of the money is. It's not actually in people who are just as a hobby generating images here and there, making phone backgrounds or whatever, wallpapers. It's actually business use cases. That's where most of the money is at. So me as a
Yeah,
business owner, for example, as I don't know, a dentist or a chiropractor, if I want a poster, I'm just going to ask someone to make me a poster, whether they make it with Midjourney or they make it with Canva or Photoshop. I don't really, it
yeah,
doesn't make any difference to me. Maybe they'll
yeah.
do it cheaper now that they have these tools, but ultimately, the people spending the money, the businesses, they don't know about this geek stuff. This is geek stuff, really, isn't it?
100%. You know, like let's say you've got a doctor, a GP surgery or whatever. Maybe that's a bad example. I don't know, or a car wash. They want a poster for their car wash. They're not necessarily looking at how posters are made. They're just going to call the first person they see that can make them a poster.
Yeah.
The only people that get critical of each other are creators themselves. But get what you want. I mean, last week somebody got in touch with me. Hey, I really want you to generate a few images for my website that I'm building. Okay, hey, instead of paying me to generate the images, why don't you take the tutorial and learn how to do it yourself? I've got it as cheap as it possibly can be. No, do you know what? I really don't want to, I
Yeah,
don't want to
exactly.
pay for that. I'd rather just get you to do it because you seem to know what you're doing. Okay,
Exactly.
that's exactly what happened. So, and then other things like that can happen. Same with web development. You could make an entire website for fully kind of through code, and it's no shame in learning code. It's going to be a lot more flexible and versatile for yourself to learn the code. But it dawned upon me very quickly. Well, I built PureXI on Shopify, and the person who's just asked me to make them a website wants something less complicated than that. Why should I, crack my head open trying to code the whole thing when I can just, they just want the
Yeah,
product, the end result. They don't care how it's
exactly.
made.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's where the money lies, really. Yeah,
Exactly. So,
yeah,
you said
absolutely, man.
you're focusing
Absolutely.
on no code or low code?
Very low code.
Very low
Yeah,
code.
very low
Okay.
code.
So
Because,
is that like, what's an
yeah,
example of that? Webflow or like,
yeah. So Webflow is primarily what I've been using, but also Shopify because I'm like, if there's an e-commerce, I don't know, fashion brand or selling some sort of product, Shopify seems to be something that I'm quite familiar with because of PureXI.
yeah,
Um, And also, you can bypass a lot of the time spent. For example, depending on what your budget is, what they're paying you, what you're going to negotiate with them, you could think, actually, I'm going to use an entire template for this website.
yeah,
There's nothing stopping you from taking a template. There's thousands of templates out there, if not, I don't know, millions. I don't know. Grabbing that, inputting all the resources for them, hooking it all up and then showing it. And they're going to be like, great, this is exactly what I wanted. Or no, this isn't what I wanted. I want something a bit different. I want something like this or like that. You could tweak it yourself, or you could find an entirely new template. It's about working smarter, not harder. That's what the famous saying is, right? Um,
100%.
but people will pay the price that you charge if you've got a decent enough portfolio, no matter what creative endeavor you're embarking on.
Yeah, and whether it
Um,
takes five
as a,
minutes or 50 hours.
I tried to ask somebody's. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, you could probably produce quicker work this way at a higher quality. Um, and remember, your customers are out there. They just want the end product. They don't care how it's done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you heard of Framer? Hmm.
No.
Framer is, I guess, similar to Webflow, but it's more like for designers, whereas Webflow is for developers. Well, I don't know, but it's more like developers are going to be active on Webflow. Framer is like for designers to make websites without needing to be able to do development. Yani. So I was just checking it out and I was thinking of making a website sometime soon. And I was like, I shouldn't, with my business hat on, I should not be making websites. It's dumb, right? You should just pay someone, like we're talking about. Yeah, should whatever car wash owner be making a poster, or should he be just getting a guy to make him a poster? The best use of my time is
Yeah.
not to make websites. Um, and I'm like leaning towards that, but then sometimes you get, not sometimes, a lot of the time, and this is amateur me in the past would have fully done the website myself, of course. Like,
Mm,
why would I pay someone? Like, money is very precious and all that. But when you've, I guess, already made some sales and you don't need to keep all of that money for the sake of it. You can say, I'm still going to run a high profit business, but that means I actually have 20% of the revenue. I could spend that 20% of it on whatever, making a website. But then I thought, you know what? There is a level to like just I just want to do a website as a hobby, maybe more like
100%. Yeah.
more than like it's not, it doesn't make business sense, but maybe as a hobby. So I don't know. Maybe I'll make the website myself because even there is
Have
headache
a
in
go.
hiring people as well. You know, so
Yeah, so tell me about that. I hired someone yesterday or the day before
yeah,
to put together this Discord server for me because I couldn't figure it out. You
yeah,
know, I was a bit intimidated by Discord, and I just wanted there were certain things I wanted. Anyway, you know, the person was from abroad, and you know, he spoke English and everything. That isn't an issue. Um, I asked him an initial question: "Can you do this for me?" He goes, "Yeah, get our basic plan." I was like, "Cool." I didn't even read the basic plan, to be fair. Maybe
mm,
that's my fault. And then when you order it, it gives you like a form to fill out, and in the form, it gives you your specific requests.
yeah,
So I wrote like a whole kind of essay, more or less, in the specific requests. And then when he submitted it 2 days later, it had like a million different channels in there and a million different things I didn't ask for. And then like one of the specific key things I asked for wasn't included, wasn't there. And I just said, "How do I work this? Where's this and where's that?" And he's like, "Oh, you can't have that. That was in the premium plan." I was like, "But I specified you could have just told me if it's, you know, in the initial request I made to you, you could have just said, "Oh, actually, this part that you want is premium. If you want to pay more, you can have that." And then he's added all this other stuff. And clearly, what he's done is he's taken a template from maybe his old work, put it in here, and added all these extra things. Like, I don't need a meme channel or a streaming channel or like a
yeah,
news channel, all this other stuff. I just wanted the simple things I wanted.
yeah,
And then had a bit of a stalemate because I said to him, "Listen," because he accused me at one point. He got a bit angry and he accused me of trying to like rip him off by getting like paying for the basic plan but wanting premium stuff. It's like, dude, you never told me any of that. Listen, I said, how about I'm just going to take my money and you can go, you know, we'll go our separate ways. Actually, initially, it was such a headache that I said to him, I'm going to just accept it, approve it, and we can go our separate ways because you're irritating me now.
yeah,
Because it was only like £10 or something. But no, eventually he refunded me, and that was it. Went our separate ways. But I ended up doing it myself, and actually, I'm really happy with what I came up with. So I found like a bit of a template online, and I cracked the code a little bit, and here we are. So the Discord's functioning exactly how I want it to function, and that's kind of why I don't want to opening it up, you know, fully to the public because I'm worried it will get raided, and I won't be able to handle it, and I don't know how to, you know,
yes.
get rid of spammers and all this sort of
To be
stuff.
honest,
So I'm
Discord
just
is
learning.
quite
But yeah,
complicated from what I've seen. Like, I like it, but especially the way everyone sets it up.
mm,
You know how people set it up, like you said, with 300 channels. Yeah, I've been using Slack for like 5 years,
yeah,
and our work Slack has like 5 channels, and I don't know why we would need 100 channels, but it's like the default in Discord is to make 100 channels when you could have a great Discord server with 5 channels. I don't know why there is a tendency for that. You know, it's better to keep things simple.
yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, look, I can show you a bit of it really because it just show you what I put together and then your ability to. Oh God, how can I do this? Here we go.
A
We'll see
little
if we
case
can.
study.
This little case study. Let me know when you can see my
Yeah, I
screen.
can see it. Yeah,
See it, right?
yeah,
Awesome. Yeah. So this is it. You've got a little welcome thing. Let me try and make my screen bigger so I can see. You've got a little welcome screen, just explaining what this channel is all about. I've got like a bunch of rules here. Um, which are, you know, general rules that you'll have. And then like a bit of an updates page for anything, any updates that I want to put up, some resources to learn. These are all these channels so far, like ones that only I can put stuff in.
yeah.
And then you've got the actual AI room. So this is where people have been generating
Ah, so you can generate
stuff.
stuff
You can see
inside
like
of
different
this.
people. Absolutely. So that's the idea. So this is
Ah,
some of the stuff we've been generating together. You
yeah,
know, yeah, I've got different themes so that you can kind of organize it. So if you want some inspiration, you want to go into a particular,
yeah,
uh, this is where we've been designing a lot of the trainers
yeah.
today. If we go up a bit more,
I see Samia
so
is
this is
in
more
there.
like logos. Absolutely, yeah. Faisal's in here as well, and a few other people. Megid is in here too.
Mm,
Um, yeah, and then we've got a general chat which is down here.
yeah,
I don't know what people are talking about now. And then we've got like self promotion if anybody wants to promote anything. I've got
yeah,
a little reminders channel to keep it, you know, keep it on topic.
Keep it Mubarak.
So
Yeah.
yeah, straightforward.
Mm, mm,
Straightforward.
mm.
So yeah, like I said, if anyone wants to
Yeah,
join,
that's
just the
a
way to do it.
reasonable amount of channels.
Yeah, dude, the guy who made it made the guy who made the other one, like, had twice as much stuff on here at least. So um, yeah, I had to simplify that because my brain couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, I've done this
we
thing
seen
again
that
where
with
I don't know how to get rid of myself. Oh, look at that. Even got.
multiplying. There we
Yeah, you
go.
see this.
Sort of.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, but actually, I didn't even mention, like, because we haven't recorded for so long. Did we? We didn't record once in Ramadan, I think.
We did pre-Ramadan, I think,
We did
and that was it.
pre-Ramadan. We didn't do it during Ramadan. That's, I guess, why we weren't recording, because Ramadan, I guess the timing is difficult. How was your Ramadan? We didn't even discuss that.
No, alhamdulillah, it was really good. Yeah, as soon as like the clocks went, was it forwards or backwards? I can't remember. Whatever
Mm.
the clocks did,
Forward, yeah.
it got very, yeah, it got quite challenging. Um, yeah, it got quite challenging to kind of fit everything in. So yeah, there was no podcast, and there was also no other things. Yeah, I stopped going to the gym because I couldn't fit it in anymore. Just couldn't
Mm.
fit it in. But alhamdulillah, no, really good. I miss it already. I miss it deeply. Quran helped me out again this year. Finished the Quran again. Um, and last time I was, I'd get behind. I might be like a just behind or something, and I'd have to catch up like two just in a day or three just
Yeah.
in a day. But this time, every day, I managed to just do a just, no matter what had happened, what was going on, or if I was traveling or whatever. So yeah, I'm really, really happy. That was, to be honest, that was my primary focus, just being able to finish the Quran. So yeah, I'm really happy Quran came through again. Shout out to them every day, Quran all the way. So yeah. What about you? How was your Ramadan?
It was good, bro. It was better than last year. Although last year was a bit of a weak one because my second son was born then, so my wife was heavily pregnant, and the baby was born, and my in-laws were staying with us. So it was not a normal Ramadan last year. But even the Ramadan before
Yeah.
that, it was better than that. Like, it's probably maybe my best Ramadan, just because I guess I was better Quran wise than I ever had been, alhamdulillah, and I had a very good routine. Because the place I was praying Taraweeh, the sheikh or the imam, he's quite popular sheikh in the area, and and he was praying in a school musalla, like a prayer room in a school, not in a masjid, and therefore it
Right.
filled up very quickly. So you would,
Yeah.
if you get there 15 minutes before we actually start praying, you won't find a place, for example. So I had to kind of have iftar, and then, especially at the beginning of Ramadan, very quickly go straight to the masjid. So I would usually be going to the masjid during Adhan, or just, during Adhan, I arrive and I get my spot, but then it's still about half an hour until actual Salah. So
Mm.
obviously that's opportunity to get stuff done in that time as well. But it just means that time between Maghrib and finishing Taraweeh or whatever, it's very compact. And it means, like, the kids have to try and get the kids to sleep before I go. And
Hmm.
but then I'm going very early, so it's like a very small amount of time to do a lot of things. And often I just had to leave, and then obviously leaving my wife with two kids to put to sleep, and they're at different ages, and it's tricky. So so it was good, ibadah wise, but actually my routine was very bad family wise. Like, it was just compromised. It's like I come back from Taraweeh late, then I guess I would sleep maybe then. Then I wake up for
Mm.
suhoor, I eat the suhoor, I go to pray, and then I go to the office from the masjid. So I go straight to the office.
Yeah.
The office turned out to be the best thing for reading Quran. I could just read at the volume that I like, with no disturbances, no one
Yeah.
else here. It was really good. That's probably like one of the big reasons that I enjoyed Ramadan a lot this year. And then after doing my
Yeah.
Quran, I could do my work, and then I would because I only sleep maybe 3 hours in the night, so then I would have a nap in the day as well. And, so there was a compromise made there, but it's inshallah only for 1 month. So alhamdulillah, I feel like, I pushed myself, so that's good. And then after Ramadan, the last day of Ramadan, the last day I flew to the UK. So
Uh,
yeah, for
that
Eid.
means you had Eid here as well, right?
Yeah, I had Eid in the
Or
UK.
was it?
Yeah. Went to celebrate
Nice,
with the family.
nice, 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 nice.
It was
That's it.
good,
That's
bro.
what it's all about.
I
Habibi.
I went
That's
to
what it's all about.
I was in the UK for about 16 days, and in 16 days I went to four
Mm.
different cities. So it felt like 4 days, not 16 days. It went
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
quickly.
I can imagine.
I was in
I
London,
can
and that's what I was
imagine.
saying. I went to the southwest. I went to Cornwall, like on a holiday kind of one. That was very
Yeah,
nice. Alhamdulillah, the weather was really good. And I never been to that part of the country, and also I never driven that for that long before as well. What's the longest you've driven?
yeah.
Like in one go, like one day, or
Oh, I went to London and back to Brighton like 4 times in one day. It was horrible. I
what
can't
is
remember
that? Four
why.
hours, 6 hours
So it's about an hour and a half or 2 hours to get there. So two, four, six. Yeah, it could have been just 8 hours,
between
maybe a bit
six and
more,
eight.
maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Why were
Yeah,
you
it
doing
was
that
it was
back and
something
forward?
silly. I do not recall. I remember it was something to do with family. I was doing a favor for someone. I had to go up and down, then up and down.
Wait, did that include a
Yeah,
van?
but
Because I feel like
such
I
is life.
remember something about that.
No, I wouldn't do that. I
Okay.
don't like driving vans at all.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's just my car, I think.
Yeah. So
Yeah, man.
because we went like my all my family that were going, we needed two cars, so we used the car that we had.
Ah, yeah.
I rented a car, so I was driving in the UK, which I never actually driven in the UK. Like I just drove in the UK in order to pass my test. So that's the only driving I've done in the UK, really. I passed my test, and I
Wow.
did it obviously manual, and then I left the UK like literally a few weeks after I passed, and I never drove again. And I never drove manual again, and I never
Right,
drove in the UK again since then. So many years
right.
later, I rented a car, and it was smooth. Probably because I was driving automatic. I rented an automatic, and you pay extra for that. Yeah, and it's quite a lot more if you want an automatic car. But it was
Yeah.
smooth, bro. I didn't have issues with the wrong side of the road thing. So it was good, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. No, absolutely, bro. How did you find the drivers here compared to wherever you drive now? You
Everyone's
drive? You don't think you
patient
drive in
here.
Turkey, do you?
Everyone's patient here in the
Really?
UK.
Oh, you do
Like
drive, yeah.
I feel like I could brake in the middle of the road and people just be like, okay, like what's he doing, kind of thing. But elsewhere, like UAE,
Oh,
Turkey, that's where I've driven. Like people would either beep or they would try and overtake you, or I just feel like people are more impatient. In the UK, seems more chill, I guess. Yeah, probably not in
it depends
London,
where
but
you drive, though. Like,
yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, as soon as I get into London, everything changes.
yeah,
People become menaces in
yeah,
the
yeah,
cars,
yeah,
bro. Yeah,
yeah. So I
alhamdulillah.
drove about the drive should have been about 6 hours, 6.5 hours, but it took a lot longer because I was
Mm,
stopping often and stuff. Um, yeah, there was a lot of scratches on the car, and I did usually when I don't know if you have experience with this, but when you rent a car, they will have that paper with the markings of where there's damage, right? But this place never did that.
yeah.
And I should have done a video of the car or whatever when I first took it, but I didn't. I was in a
Yeah.
hurry.
Oh,
So I found these big scratches. I'm like, damn, there's no way I did this, but there's also no proof that I didn't do it, kind of thing. But when I returned it, they didn't care. Um, they also
all
didn't
right.
care that
So
I took it with 5/8 of the tank full, and I returned it with a bit less than that. So they didn't seem to care about that either. So alhamdulillah, that's all right.
there you go. There you go. Dude, when we went to Scotland, it was like one of my friends put up a vlog about this on YouTube. We went to Scotland. We It was like a new car that had been driven before. We ended up
Oh,
putting it in a ditch,
oh
and
man.
it like tipped over like that. and we were trying to not let it flip, so we all like got around the other
Yeah.
side and pulled it down,
Yeah.
returned it, and there was no issues. The ditch was like a
Alhamdulillah.
soft grass ditch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
just got
we,
dirty or
a
something.
friend of yeah, a little bit, but it was in the summer, so like my
Oh,
friend drove to park the car on this like kind of it was like a gravel track with a ditch on the side, but you couldn't see the ditch
yeah.
because it was like a lovely view. Because we were in Inverness, up in the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah.
As soon as he pulled in, he just the car went like that. Yeah, it was
Mm.
great, great memories.
Yeah.
Great, man,
Alhamdulillah.
alhamdulillah.
So I was actually gonna. I wanted to like. I was just in a mood for like doing something a bit different. So I was like, let me not rent the cheapest car that's like automatic. Let me like maybe let me see what I can get. Let me see what the options are, Yani. So I was
Yeah.
gonna rent a Tesla, but then I thought, look,
Oh,
this
really?
now we're adding like extra level of risk to this trip with like not finding a charger, not knowing how the charging
Yeah,
works, all of that. So
yeah.
I didn't in the end, but yeah, it was good,
Next
bro.
time, inshallah.
It's a different thing. Like, my life is a bit compared to what it could be, right? A lot of people who have business and this and that, maybe they have like flexibility. A lot of them, they might be like going to all around the world. They might be doing a lot of things. I don't do a lot of things. So I'm trying to like do more
Yeah,
interesting things, Annie.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like maybe the beginning of stuff, different stuff. Inshallah.
No, I agree, bro. You should do. Like I'm very, very tame, very, very stale, but my wife's quite the opposite. She's always wants to do stuff. So I've actually booked, let me show you this actually, show you some pictures. I'm gonna mess up your camera work again. I've actually booked this sort of tent thing that we're gonna go
I
to, this
recognize
camping kind of
Airbnb
spot.
website when I see it. Oh, you're doing some glamping.
Well, this is what it is. Glamping, my friend. And
Where is
there's
this?
a barbecue and a fire. This is close to me, so it's in Sussex. It's not too far. It's about an hour from here. I didn't want
Yeah,
to do like my first kind of trip to be too far
yeah.
in case there's an emergency.
All right.
But yeah, it's just
It's
a
good, bro.
cool
Change of
a
scenery.
cool little spot, right? Yeah, yeah. We're gonna see how it goes. I think I'm gonna get some shopping before we go,
Yeah,
and we're there for like 3 nights. So yeah, just little things like that because all my family have gone abroad. All of them are going to Morocco, and I just thought, oh, let's let's see if we can do something locally
yeah,
because I tried to go abroad, but I just couldn't pull it off.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, here we are. So we'll see. I think I'm going on the 22nd, inshallah.
Mhm.
So
How
I'll let you
much is
know how
that?
it goes. So that one was around £100 a night,
Okay.
um, which isn't the end of the world.
I
Isn't the
think
end of
that
the
that's
world, but
very
we'll see.
reasonable
Like I
for the
said,
UK,
it's
right?
experience.
Or maybe average or a bit cheap.
Seems to be.
Mm.
So I looked at compared it to lots of other ones around the country, and that was actually the most value for money. There were other ones that looked a lot worse, but were that cost a lot more. So we'll see. Like I said, I'll find out when I get there.
Bro, this
But it's a
place that I
completely new
stayed at,
experience. At the end of the day,
ah,
no, I was going to say there's five of us. Me and my wife and three kids, so it's pretty decent. But yeah, you were
mm,
saying?
yeah, the place I was at, I booked my flight, and then a week later I booked this holiday thing as well. So I booked it kind of well in advance. I think I booked it in January, February, for April, May time. So it was kind of, I think that's a good way of doing things. And because of that, maybe it was slightly cheaper, but the main thing is that when I then recommended this place to someone else, they went to book it and they're like, yeah, it's booked for the next 4 months in a row. So,
Right.
and this place had a 4.99 rating out of 5. So it was really good. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
it was about 133 a night. So I think that's on the cheaper side for what it was because like 3 bedrooms and the location is good and all of that. I actually went swimming in the
Mm.
sea as well. It was like warm enough.
Wow, you're having a midlife crisis. I mean, you're
Wow,
doing it all.
that's normal. Um, I went swimming in the sea last summer in Turkey, but I wasn't sure if I would be able to swim in England in May, early May. Like, is it going to be warm enough? When I got to the beach, I was just like paddling in the water. I was like, this is cold, man. But and half an hour in or an hour in, it seemed to get a bit warmer, and I'm like, look, even if it's freezing, I'm going to do it. Like, whatever. At least let me jump in and jump out, like quick one. So then when I did it, I was like, oh, it's actually all right. It's actually nice. And of course, like I want to,
Is it?
my son went swimming as well. So I want to get him comfortable and used to it. Cause I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of, I benefited a lot from going at quite a young age to Algeria and always every summer go Algeria and go in the water, always swim, see, not in these like very organized and polished environments. Like sometimes, like actually, most of the swimming I did in Algeria is not even at the beach; it's at the port where there's boats coming in and out. There's rocks.
Yeah,
There's no like gradual way of getting to the water. You just have to dive in, and then it's straight deep into the deep because you're in the sea, right? The port is an extension out into the
yeah.
sea. So I did most of my swimming there, like with uh, I don't know what in the water, bro. Diesel, all kinds of stuff. But that's just that's I don't know. That's part of the culture of that city, that town where I'm from. Is that's where people
Yeah,
swim, or because right close to the city, right? If you want to go to a beach, you need a car or a bus or whatever. It'll take longer to get there. So a lot of the time, a quick swim, you'll go to the port, and then for the like a day out kind of thing, you go to the beach.
yeah. That's where real men are made, bro. Those kind of environments.
Yeah, and
You
this was
don't come out
a
of it with radiation.
this was not that young, Yani. I was 11 the first time I went to Algeria, so my son is 3, 4, so it's much younger. But I mean, I grew up swimming anyway, but um, yeah, I just want to. Anyway, he's cool with the water. He enjoys it. Maybe
Yeah.
I was trying to be careful because I was trying to like throw him into it a lot and like just rough him up a bit. But then he was like, I don't like that and stuff. Like he was just saying it in a very matter of fact way. Like he wasn't like no, like he's crying or anything. He just like I do not like that. I was like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's like a mini you. Very
Yes,
direct.
something like that. Yeah,
I
actually,
bet. And
actually,
I'm so
him and the second one, they're different. Like I can see the clear differences, and yeah, the first one is much more like me, I think.
yeah. But I'm so excited to take all of the kids to Tunisia, man. Now, obviously, only Suleiman's been, but now having all three of them, when you live in an apartment like this and you don't really have like huge flexibility and just letting them run free, it becomes like bouncy balls off the walls in this flat. And you can just see that, especially young boys, they just need to get out. Like sometimes the kids can get really frustrated, and you can't put your finger on why they're frustrated or why they're getting angry or whatever. And then you realize, oh wait, when was the last time when was the last time I took them out? You take them out and you just go to some field or something and just let them run, let them,
Yeah,
get it all out of their system, and then they come home and go straight to bed because they've had it. And I just know that bi'idhnillah, I can almost taste the hijrah, bro. It's so close. Honestly, everything's just coming together so beautifully, alhamdulillah. So may Allah finalize my plans. But
amen.
yeah, I can just see that once we're there, bi'idhnillah, with all of that space that we've got, alhamdulillah, it will be incredible. It'll be absolutely incredible experience for them. And I think it's their calling, And to be honest, Suleiman's pretty much at the age I was when I lived there. Um, so I can just, I can see myself in him a lot, and I can see how much it will benefit him, because I worry, oh, they haven't really learned Arabic too well yet. But like I said, I spent 2 years or so there, and I come back and I can hold a very solid conversation with any Tunisian I meet. So it is what it is.
Bro, the language is not a problem at all. The first time I went to Algeria,
Yeah.
I was not even as young as your kids. Which is a disadvantage, Yani. I was
Mm.
older, and I didn't even go with my parents. My dad sent me with his cousin, so I went with his cousin who lived in the UAE as well, Yani. So he took us. He dropped us off to my uncle, and then from my uncle we went to my uncle's house, and no one spoke anything but Arabic, French, and I didn't speak Arabic, but you
Yeah.
know, it was about a week of very awkward, very awkward. I wouldn't even call it conversations. Then after 1 week, it was better. After 2 weeks, it was better. But really, it took 2, 3 summers to really get into it, and then it was like very smooth. Um,
Yeah.
I wonder why my dad, because when I was very young, my dad was speaking to me in Arabic, I believe. And then, like after a few years, I think he just gave up. I don't know. Maybe I'll need to ask
I
him about it.
suppose because you probably have, as we do with our kids, you have to repeat everything twice. Like earlier, I can't remember what I said to him. I was like reprimanding him a little bit, and I said it in Arabic, and he goes, "What does that mean?" And I had to repeat it again in English, but it can get a bit, tiring having to repeat it constantly, because you realise, because when I get a bit angry, I start speaking in Arabic, or if I'm like trying to explain something, I don't know. Sometimes I just go off on in Arabic, even when I'm not angry, just explaining something. Um, but yeah, trying to have to do that again, you forget that your kids can't fully understand you, so they'll turn around and they won't react. I'm like, "Do you hear what I just said?" And then they'll
Mm.
be like, "What? What did you say?" So yeah, man.
But
It's
they might
an
get it.
experience. It's a
They
learning
might get it
experience.
even without translation. Like, for example, when you're teaching a language, Yanni, to second language speakers, one of the things they always encourage you to do is just speak in that language. So when I was teaching
Yeah,
French in the UK, imagine I'm giving them an exercise to learn French, and obviously it's basic French, right? Year 7, 8, 9, whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm explaining how to do the exercise in French. So you might think like, how are they going to understand that?
Mm,
But the more you just speak to them, the more they actually will pick it up. And from your gestures, from your pointing, they pick it up and they get it. And so you explain in French, and
yeah.
then you'll be like, who can explain how to do it in English? So then you'll get like the
Mm,
geek of the class to kind of explain it in English. And yani, that exposure to the language really helps. So definitely. But even like
mm.
you're like Khalil, like he doesn't know any language now, right? So if you just speak to him in
Yeah,
Arabic, then that will be what he learns, yani, isn't it?
bro. He's such a great kid. He just looks at me, he just smiles. And he looks at me and he laughs. Looks at me and he smiles. That's all he does. That's his job. His job is to put a smile on my face. Like,
Like,
he's at that age. He's 6 months yesterday, a couple of days ago, he's 6 months. So yeah, doesn't cause a scene, just looks at you and he just smiles at you. And I love it. It seems to be some sort of addict to me. Like he just, as soon as he sees me, that's it, game over. Nothing else matters. Um, I was listening to the Seerah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
sounds.
and I haven't, all these years, I haven't, like, I've got the book, I've gone through the book a little bit here and there, but everybody speaks about Yasser Qadi's Seerah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
Yeah.
and I found it on Spotify actually, the entire thing. So yeah, obviously it's over a decade old now, isn't it? But just putting that on whilst I'm doing bits and pieces, um, and it's just like this is the prime age to learn about the seerah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When you're kind of a young man, 30 years old or so, because that's where most of the seerah kind of starts. From what you've got, obviously the birth of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You've got a tiny bit about his childhood in terms of like when Jibreel alayhi salam came and opened his chest and washed his chest out and took that black sort of spot out of his chest. But then that's it. Then you've got like a little bit of him being a younger man in terms of marrying Khadija radiallahu anha. But then a lot more of the detail starts coming, from 30s, and then obviously when he became a prophet at 40 years old, etc. So this is where you're going to find a lot of the impact of the Prophet Prophet's life on your age now. With the responsibilities, with working as an adult within your community,
Mm.
etc. Because as a
Mediating.
young, like, 18-year-old, yeah, 100%. As a young, like, teenager and stuff, you can love and appreciate the Prophet Seerah, no doubt, but it won't have as much impact in terms of you emulating his characteristics, his behavior, because you don't have any similar responsibilities as he did at as 30 onwards, right? So
Mm.
yeah, I think it's a perfect time to really delve into the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. As well, I'm going to be 30 in a few months, inshallah. So, 3 kids and that, and trying to, it just makes you fall in love with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so much, which I kind of kick myself now for not delving into it as much sooner. But yeah, Quran during Ramadan, Sirah after Ramadan. That's my life right now.
And it's a long
Yeah,
series,
man.
isn't it? My wife listened to it beginning to end. I think it
Yeah,
took her a couple years to go through all of that, but she always raves
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
She was trying to get me to listen to it, but I don't. It's obviously very detailed, and I just don't know if I want to do a detailed. I want to like do levels, so less detail, complete the Seerah beginning to end, less detail, then a bit more, then a bit more, like that kind of thing. That's my uh, philosophy,
Yeah.
methodology. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I'm quite early on. I mean, I'm on like episode 10, which I think what we got up to. We just did the marriage of Khadija radiallahu anha. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm at. The thing is, there are a bit that up to that point, there has been aspects where I thought, oh, there'd be more detail, but I think there simply isn't enough authentic sources for um,
Yeah,
early on in the Prophet Prophet's life. So I'd assume that after prophethood, there's going to be a lot more detail because right now it seems like we're kind of going through it quite quickly, like glossing over things I kind of wanted more focus on. But yeah, maybe later on there is going to be a lot more of that detail, and then I'm going to feel like, oh, this is actually quite meaty, so to speak. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I am, and I always need something to listen to because I go to the gym. I go to the gym now, which isn't like a gym. I used to go to a lot of gyms. Like I used to go to a gym at work and the gym at my flat, which was quite. It was just me in there. But now I'm going to a generic gym in the town, and obviously they've got music pumping and all that sort of stuff. So I need something to drown all of that out and focus on something else, right?
bro. I used
So
some
this seems to be doing the trick.
noise cancelling headphones recently. I tried someone's out. They're next level.
Yeah, any good?
Very good. Very good. Like, I never experienced it before, but it's like, in this office, there's like these phone booth things for calls, which are soundproof, sound
Yeah,
treated or whatever.
yeah.
It's like that, but you could just carry it around and just put it on.
Right. That seems pretty good. Just don't wear it out in the street. You might get hit by a car, bro. Be careful.
Yeah. And then it has this transparency mode or whatever it's called, where if you just put one hand on one side, then it allows you to hear the environment around you kind of thing. So it's pretty cool.
Did,
But
did,
these
did,
headphones are
did you
like
s-
200 quid though.
did you see Dyson's air filter headphones?
Is
They
that the
went
one with the
viral.
mask on the front or the air purifier thing or whatever it is?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not going to bring it up. Anyone who wants to see that, Google it. It looks
Is
like an
that a joke
abomination.
or is it
I
a
don't know what's going on
prototype
there.
or is it an actual product?
It's real, bro. MKBHD, or whatever his name is. He got a pair. I need to watch the video actually. I don't know if
Is
he's
that a
put the
new
video out, but
video?
he did get a pair. I know he tweeted it. I don't know if he's put a video out yet. He tweeted that
Okay.
he's going to do a video on it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'll
That
check
should
that
be
out. I'll
interesting.
check that. You've got wireless earphones on today. That's new, isn't it? Is that a little aid
So
present?
no, so alhamdulillah, the little aid present was this laptop. I got a new laptop, which is
Yeah.
why
Mashallah. Hmm.
if you've been following me on anything, I have been just, off the walls, put this video out, put this thing out, like whatever. My workflow has just rapidly transformed, which is
Yeah.
incredible, right?
Yeah.
Uh, PureXI is now like just I'm putting stuff out really quickly on PureXI because I can. So alhamdulillah. But I didn't really do too much research when I bought it. I like it. I'm very pleased with it, but it doesn't have enough ports, and because of that, I've got two USB-C ports and one normal USB port.
Yeah.
So I've got charging in the USB-C, I've got the microphone in USB-C, I've got the webcam in the normal USB, because the webcam in here isn't that great. And obviously today it doesn't matter because I'm really grainy and blurry anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so the only option I had left for headphones was I bought these for my wife not too long ago, but they hook up to the Bluetooth in the laptop, and that is why. That's the answer to your
Oh,
question.
so it doesn't have 3.5 millimeter jack.
No, what it does have is a jack adapter, which goes into USB-C. So it's
Right.
a Asus
That's next
ZenBook
level.
Flip S.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't like I said, there was something I wanted, and I kind of was there. I went into the shop instead of ordering online, so I kind of looked and I was talking to the staff there and really being quite specific with what I wanted. This pretty much had everything like where I wanted for the price I wanted, but yeah, I guess I didn't really think about the headphone thing.
Yeah, you take it
The
for
only
granted.
time I'm ever going to have Yeah, the only time I'm ever gonna need all of the ports free is gonna be when I'm doing the podcast, right?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
so
Mm.
Other than that, this, no, it works like a charm though. So,
Mm.
alhamdulillah. Are we allowed to say works like a charm? Maybe we're not. I'm not going to say that. I retract my statement and I make a public apology.
I realized recently, like so much of normal language, or maybe it's my language because I watch and read a lot of business stuff, and a lot of that is from Americans, and maybe business American people speak this way. A lot of the what are they like analogies or metaphors or whatever that people use, these kind of people use are gambling related, like stack the deck in your favor, or I can't think of others now, but there's a lot like that, it's all gambling.
Play your cards right.
Yes,
Yeah.
all of that.
Um, uh, yeah. There's other words like that, isn't there? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is. There's going to be a lot of stuff. Origins of language is crazy. You know, I got in trouble recently for using the word bint. I
Bint.
won't I won't give you the context, but yeah, I used the word bints or
Mm.
like bints instead of Bennett. I just kind of UKified it. And someone told me that it was misogynistic to use that word. I was very, very, very confused because of the context of what I said wasn't actually a misogynistic sentence. I was
So the
referring to how
Arabic language is
particular women.
misogynistic, Yanni?
Well, I looked into it. I googled it because I was racking my head because I didn't actually get them to explain to me why it was misogynistic. I just went away, right? And I was racking my head like, how could that be? What I couldn't figure it out. So I
Mm.
literally just thought, let me Google bint. Let me just Google it,
Mm.
and there you had it. It was like something for women, a term for women, and underneath it had a little derogatory label under it. So I clicked it and started like reading, and it was taken from like when Egypt was colonized in the 19th century by the UK. The UK soldiers took this word and then brought it home and started using it as a derogatory way to refer to women. I was like, you've got to be joking. I'm clearly an Arab. Like, I was clearly using it in my own Arab context. I've never heard it. It reminded me of you're not on Twitter, so you missed that kind of hoo ha. There was a big hoo ha with one of the brothers on Twitter where he used the word. Um, Essentially, there was a video put out on TikTok where a couple of guys were um, non-Muslim guys were like getting ready, like they were like showing themselves dressing up and stuff, and the caption was like, "Can't wait." I won't say what they said, but they're basically excited that Ramadan's coming to an end, so they can start, I don't know, dating or linking up with Muslim women, right? Even though they're not Muslim, okay? And then this brother basically quote tweeted that and said, "Oh, these kuffar are this or that, or these kafirs are this and that." Bro, it went crazy. It went crazy because everybody in South Africa uses kafir as a derogatory slur against black people, right? And the guys on the video happen to be black,
Really?
but he was clearly using it as
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he was using it as a context that
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
non-Muslims. Look,
Yeah.
they're clearly non-Muslims, and they're getting excited to, I don't know, date Muslim women or what's more than date? I'll let your imagination go. But you see what I mean? And it went crazy. And then you had this cancel culture. We did an episode a long time ago about cancel culture. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I don't mind it. Dude, I reverse 180 on that. I hate it. I hate cancel
Okay.
culture because it's ridiculous. Because some people were saying to him, "Oh, I know what you were doing when you said that," And then there were some Muslims that were like begging it with the liberals by saying, even though you may have tried to use it in the Islamic context, you shouldn't use it because it could offend people. And actually, you should delete this tweet and delete this and that and change your language and all this stuff. And I was thinking, it's just this Binns thing reminded me of that, where words get hijacked and suddenly they mean different things, and you're forced to not use them anymore because it might offend somebody. Like, get with the program and go to the origins and take somebody's intention before you take their, what the statement is or whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
hate
guess in
cancel
a
culture, man.
global
I don't know.
platform, bint could be a word in like 20 languages, right? And we don't even know all the meanings that it has in different languages. So considering it's, global platform, Twitter and all that, you do have to give people benefit of the doubt and like look at how they were using it. Yeah.
Let's see where they're from, see
Yeah,
what they were
exactly.
talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what you could do, I mean, you know, you can come up with a scenario or a story behind any tweet in your head and make it fit your agenda, right? And that's what they've done to this brother. They clearly saw that he was quote tweeting a video of two black guys and thought, yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's referring to them in this derogatory slur.
Mm.
No, they're just two the two non-believers, kuffar, disbelievers. They were clearly disbelievers because they are presenting themselves as disbelievers, getting excited over the opportunity to link up with Muslim women who they find attractive. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's derogatory to Muslim women, but no one's talking about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Nobody's talking about that.
yeah.
They're talking about us using a label that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses it in the Quran. We're not going to take. We're not going to change for anybody. We're not going to change the Quran because one day, that if we had no morals and we had no lines that could be crossed, then one day they might look at the Quran and say, "Well, this needs changing and this needs changing, and we need to change that." And actually, this translation is wrong because we don't like the word kuffar. And actually, that has kind of happened anyway in a lot of discourse in some du'at and some shuyukh in the West, where they stopped using the word kafir, stopped using the word kuffar,
You'll never hear
preferred
that.
to use disbeliever, preferred to use. You never hear what? Sorry,
You
kuffar or
never hear
kafir?
you never hear kafir kuffar. It's only non-Muslim.
Yeah, yeah, and there are some discourse regarding there's a difference between a disbeliever and a kafir, but
That's not where this comes
to
from,
be
though.
honest,
This comes
when
from in the UK at
no,
least. I believe this what's the word, legislation, hate speech legislation or something. So that was used at
yeah,
one
yeah,
time to say, like, saying kafir is hate speech, basically, something like that. And anyway, all the du'at and shuyukh, they've backed off from using it. You'll never hear it in a khutbah, in anything, really. It's very, very rare to hear it. And the average Muslim in the UK will not use it. When I used to use it, when I was in the UK, some people would kind of be very surprised. You could tell it in their face, Yani. It was
yeah,
almost like, "Oh, you went there?" And I was like, "That's
yeah,
normal, Yani."
yeah. Yeah, it's like sanitization of our deen, right? And
Mm.
I hate it. I think it's vile, and I think for societies, especially that parade their right to free speech and things like that, like why stop me from saying it, but not take it out of the books, not take it out of the Quran? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, what there's books out there, like I don't know, Mein Kampf, for example. I'm going the complete opposite extreme, which is banned because of the hate that's in there, right? But not
Mm.
only is the speech, the ideology banned, but also the book itself. But why ban the word kafir when the Quran is full of the word, kuffar and kafir, so to speak? Because it's just they won't go that far because they haven't got the guts because they know a kick off.
Yeah, you can't.
Imagine,
Although
but
in France, I think they tried
you
to go
can't.
that far, but yeah, France is the next level.
That's why you should just they should just educate themselves on the origins of words and what they're used for. At the end of the day, that is what it is. Are you Muslim? No. You've had Islam. Do you know about Islam? Yes, I do. Do you want to accept Islam? No, I don't. Well, then you're a kafir. Do
Yeah.
you understand? It's as simple as that to me. Because it's not like you're ignorant. You don't know anything about it. You've been given the truth. You don't want to accept it. There you go. You're covering the truth. You don't want it.
It's just like
Wallahu
for
alam.
them, like,
Wallahu
for
alam.
like ADL or whatever it is, if they say, "Don't be such a Muslim," for example, yeah, they're using it
Yeah,
as a derogatory thing because to them it's bad to be Muslim. But I don't care about that because I'm convinced that being Muslim is a good thing. So, if they're
yeah,
convinced that
yeah.
being kafir is a good thing, then they shouldn't have an issue with it, right?
Absolutely, bro. At the end of the day, Islam is inevitable. There's new Muslims popping up left, right, and center. Every time I go to the local masjid, there's a new 15-year-old Muslim there. I went to have dinner before gym the other day, and we just grabbed a few brothers that were sitting there, young brothers. One of them was, from his appearance, he looked like an English brother, right? And to my surprise, well, not to my surprise, he was. Spoke to him. He had an English name. I won't name his name because I don't know, maybe he doesn't want to be named, but he's taken the name Zakaria now. Um, and he was just talking to me about he's been Muslim for like a month.
Mm.
Prior to that, when I went to the mission, there was a boy just took his shahada just before I walked in. Apparently, this month, obviously, my locale isn't really huge with Muslims, but there was at least one shahada every day. So there was about 30 shahadas in Ramadan that we had,
Mm.
and majority of them are young Muslim boys, well, young boys. And like I said, I don't know if I told you when I went to the gym recently. No, I went to the gym in Ramadan. Two boys came up to me to use the same to use the pull-up bar thing that I was using, and they were like, "Oh, how long have you got?" I said, "Just jump in with me. Yeah, just jump in. We'll just take turns." Uh, and we were taking turns, and obviously I'm visibly Muslim. And he was like, "Oh, are you Muslim?" And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah, yeah, are you? And he goes, "No, but I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it." I was like, "Oh, really?" And we just got talking. Bro, he literally knew everything there is to know about, the basics of
Mm.
Islam. He even started talking to me about Shia and Sunni and all this sort of stuff. And he was already quite certain about, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah and all that kind of thing. So I was like, "What's stopping you? Like, you're already Muslim." He goes, "Yeah, but like, I just love Jesus too much." I was like, "Hey, listen, I'll be honest with you." He goes, "What?" So I love Jesus more than you. And then we just got talking like that, right? So, yeah, man, it's phenomenal. I do really believe this is a lot to do with like Andrew Tate becoming Muslim and that kind of influence that's out there, and a lot of other figures becoming Muslim. Um,
Yeah, I
but
heard
no, it's
there is a
incredible
trend.
time, and I think because yeah, yeah, definitely seems to be because he was referenced when this guy was talking to me, and I think he gets referenced a lot when young people talk about you know, because it is Islam. The foot of the West has come off of Islam a little bit since 9/11, right? Because I feel like 10 years ago we were just watched, and then Daesh came around, and then we were watched even more, and we felt like we were silent even more. Now I feel like with the powers that be are waning a little bit. Not to say there isn't oppression against Muslims around the world. There certainly is, but I feel like we have a lot more because a lot of groups that aren't Muslim are saying the same things we're saying now.
Mm.
Because of that, we have this empowerment to share what we believe in quite openly. Um, the values of family, the values of conservatism, the values of following God in general are being shared and being promoted by people all across the spectrum.
Yeah,
And the
people
status
have been
quo of the
pushed.
liberal West is being challenged by people within.
Yeah,
So,
especially like in the UK. If you think about it, yeah, the UK is the most liberal country in the West, potentially. It's more liberal than the US. It's more
mm,
liberal than France, Germany. It's very liberal. There is a
mm,
conservative party, but they're not conservative socially, right? They're not socially conservative.
mm.
So the UK is very liberal, and maybe only Canada is more liberal than the UK. And and when the society is pushed in one extreme direction, there are always going to be people that start to resist that and start to come the other way, isn't it? And you see that with any
Yeah,
movement. People are pushed towards socialism, they end up going capitalism or whatever it is, Yanni. So that's a natural response, and it just took a few decades to kick in, right? And also, obviously,
yeah,
with the ease of creating content and all of that, and this whole manosphere that's become big. If I think of like if I think of the top 10 or top, let's say five, because that's all I can think of now. Top five people like on YouTube from the quote unquote manosphere, probably like three or four of them have a link to Islam. Either they're Muslim or they, used to be Muslim, or they kind of Muslim by heritage. Like that's strong. What's his name? Sneeko. Sneeko. You know Sneeko?
yeah. He became Muslim recently, didn't he?
Oh, did he become Muslim? You know who told me about it?
Yeah.
This is funny.
Go on.
My dad comes to me. He's like, "Do you know Sneeko?" I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of heard of him." He's like, "Yeah, I think he's gonna become Muslim." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, I think it was literally last week he became Muslim. Last
really?
week,
Okay,
Yeah, may
okay.
Allah protect these brothers and guide them. They've
I
been
mean,
through a crazy kind of, crazy exposure, crazy life, crazy temptations that are in front of them, no doubt. So to kind of back from that, obviously you had like remember Speed, I Show Speed. He's a famous YouTuber. He was
yeah,
like
yeah.
all involved with Muslims, and we went to
Did
uh,
he become Muslim in the
Dubai
end?
and all sorts of stuff. I don't know, but I do know that Chunks was kind of teaching him about Islam quite deeply. And there was like video clips of that. I don't watch his videos, so I don't really know where he's at in his life. But
Right.
yeah, bro, it's imminent. It's inevitable. This is it. I feel like we're at the tipping point because, like, even you find people that hated Islam, like Tommy Robinson, right? I saw a video of him pretty much saying that Muslims are the final frontier, the final kind
Bastion.
of
Yeah.
I don't know, wall against the tyranny of this kind of liberal agenda. Yeah, they're
Mm.
the only ones standing up for our kids in schools, and he was like just backing us, and I was just like, "This is fascinating." And I honestly, I was looking at his videos speaking like that, and I thought, "Do you know what? He's literally a few steps away from becoming Muslim because he's realized that what he's trying to do isn't going to happen because there's almost like a bigger threat now to the ideology that he kind of promotes, right?" Um, so yeah, Allahu alim. But I just find it fascinating. I think we're at a very, very in terms of like the zeitgeist in the West when it comes to Islam, I think we're at a very, very fascinating time because 10 years ago, this wouldn't have you wouldn't like a revert to Islam, like a famous revert to Islam 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it wasn't like you had your Cat Stevenses, you had your Muhammad Ali. Well, Muhammad Ali's way before, Cat Stevens way before. But in the last 15 years, I couldn't think of anyone like at the forefront of whatever, entertainment or
Yeah.
the general pop culture that had it was like movie stars and stuff. You might get like the odd Liam Neeson quote, "Oh, Islam is beautiful. I went and heard it then and that," but nothing really comes out of it. But now you've got these people that are they might not be movie stars and stuff, but they certainly are at the forefront of like pop culture, YouTube,
Well,
social
maybe
media, that
because
kind of thing.
the
And
new
Andrew Tate was one.
yeah,
Uh,
the new type of
one.
influencer, the new celebrity are social media celebrities who have not gone through a system. They've not gone through an industry. Like the Hollywood industry makes you a certain way. The social media
Yeah,
industry,
yeah,
unless you go in that Hollywood route, it's open. You can kind of be yourself. Yeah.
yeah. And I think Islam fit a bit of a niche where it kind of became cool. I don't think it used to be seen as cool, but now it kind of is. Um, and even with that, a bit of your own behavior as a Muslim changes when you're out in public. There's a bit more pride when you walk down the street in a non-Muslim area. You know, um, and I don't know if it's maybe I had an inferiority complex before, but like I've been wearing thobes out in public way more than I used to, and it just crossed my mind yesterday because I was wearing thobes out to the masjid from here to the masjid. It's about what 15 minutes drive, and obviously I have to walk a bit to get there after I park and all this sort of stuff. But I never really did that before, and now I'm like, I was doing it kind of subconsciously, and then it dawned upon me. I was like, what's changed? Like, why have I suddenly started doing this? And then I think it is because there's this bit
It's
of
just a
identity
vibe.
of like what Islam is, because people have come up to me. It's a vibe. People come up to me and started asking what Islam's about and being interested in it. Random people in the street say "Salam alaikum" to you, but it's changed because before it used to be as if it was an insult. Now it's like as like a form of respect. Like people that
Mm.
aren't Muslim. Do you understand what I mean? Now, like when people say it to me, and there was a bunch of French kids the other day that were around here doing a school trip because we live in quite a nice area. And they shouted "Salam alaikum" to me and my wife. But this time I could tell it was out of respect. It wasn't out of like, it wasn't like they were taking the mick, right? It was them telling me that they understand my culture by saying "Assalamu
Yeah,
alaikum" to me. It wasn't like them saying, "Oh, you terrorist," or "You this or that," right? So yeah, bro, the zeitgeist has changed. We just need to capitalize on it. We really do.
we are.
Alhamdulillah, bro. We've got a bit of a delay. I think that's why there's a bit of a between me and you.
Silences. Yeah, before we wrap it up, the last thing is that this time next week, so maybe when we record the next episode, I think the Turkish elections would have been over, would have taken place.
Yeah.
Have you been hearing about it? You seem to know.
No, I saw that. What did I see? I saw something about it. There was
Erdogan had a huge
some news
rally
about the gas.
yesterday.
He had a rally. He's been rallying. He was unwell at one point,
Yeah.
wasn't he? He got to rush to hospital, but I feel like he's doing well for numbers. I feel like he's had positive feedback Has he kind of got still got the majority or something? That's what I heard. I don't
I
know.
don't know about the polls, but he's had this whole strategy, which it's yeah, and it makes sense that it would work very well. Which is the last maybe month or 2, 3 weeks leading up to elections. Almost every day he's announcing like all this sick news. So
Yeah,
they turned on the gas pipeline thing from the Black Sea. And then he said, I think gas is free for all homes for the next year, something like that. And then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they opened the electric car company, the Turkish electric car company. They unveiled those, and those went on sale and stuff like that. Then they announced the other day they found an oil reserve, or whatever it's called, oil deposits in the east of the
Mm,
country, enough
yep.
to provide 100,000 barrels a day. I don't know what that means, but they said it's 10% of the country's energy needs. Um, then the day that he got ill, he was going to, what was it? It was the day of or the day after or something, where he was going to the opening of a nuclear power plant. Okay. And
Oh,
then,
really?
so he's opened a nuclear power plant. And the day that he missed was the day he was going to open a solar power plant or something, right? So it's just like every day there's something coming out, yeah, and good news, and like making people feel like, okay, yeah, Turkey's actually on the right path and there's a lot of progress being made and stuff. So it's a good strategy. It's a
Mm.
good strategy. I heard yesterday there was a huge rally at the airport, the old airport, which is, I think it's just used for cargo now or something, or conferences or something. And there was apparently 1.7 million people at this rally, which is the biggest ever in the history of Turkey.
Yeah.
And, so obviously that's all looks good and everything, the drone shots, and it's just like, whoa, that's a lot of people and all this. So, yeah, in my neighborhood is mostly, they support him anyway. So it's like, I think this area is assumed they're all going to vote for him. So maybe they don't try too hard over here, but I see a few posters. I see, no, actually they opened the metro here. He came here to open the metro. So that I remember that day. That I don't, have we not done we've not even done a episode since then, really. So anyway, he came over
No.
here. He came over here, and there was crazy military presence and everything when he came. He came to open a metro, and I was wondering, like, why would the president come and open a metro line? And but the truth is that what happened is the mayor of Istanbul is from the opposition party, and what they did is
Right.
they kind of they took this project off the mayor's hands and they put it in the kind of higher level government hands. And so he came to open it basically to say, look, the mayor failed. He's from the opposition party. He failed to get this thing opened. We took it over. We got it open now for you guys, kind of thing. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
why
yeah.
he showed up for that. They also opened the metro that goes to the new airport from, if anyone knows, like Taksim Square or Istiklal Street, like that kind of area, very central area of Istanbul. Now the metro goes from there to the new airport. That was opened a month or two ago, and that's free for a month. So every day something new. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, to be honest. From what I understand, it's very close, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a good strategy. It's been a good strategy, and I, I can't say I feel it in the air because I don't. Maybe if I was living in a different area, or if I understood Turkish, or if I read Turkish press, maybe then I would
Yeah.
feel the vibe. But I don't know. Maybe when the results come out, we'll feel a vibe. I don't know. Some people telling me, "Oh, if the opposition wins, I've got my bags ready. I'm leaving." Some people are scared. I know a lot of the Syrians here. They were in WhatsApp groups. They're saying, we've got to go to this rally. We've got to show support because for them, they're very desperate not to have to leave because the opposition kind of, their whole thing is we're going to get rid of the refugees and all that. So yeah, interesting, bro. I don't think I've been in a country during elections before.
Mm. And it's all going to come down to probably just what, because I heard that cause even the opposition party are like borrowing some of the kind of I don't know, ideas of Erdogan's party, right? they're like trying to appeal to maybe Muslims a bit more. I think they used to want to ban the hijab, and now they kind of allowed that. That's what I've heard somewhere. I could be
Well,
wrong. I don't follow it too deeply.
from what I've been told, the opposition's policies or their message is, we are not Erdogan. They have no specific economic
Yeah.
policy, social policy, nothing. Yeah, they're just, if you don't like Erdogan, vote for us. That's their whole thing. And that's why, whether you're a secular or not, I don't think they're going to, it doesn't sound like they're equipped or they have real ideas and real philosophy behind how they would run the country or the changes they would bring in. Whereas Erdogan, he has things that he's saying like, I want to do this, I want to do that. He has clear ideology behind how he does the foreign policy, how he does this, how he does that. But the opposition, they're just like,
Mm.
yeah, they're pro-West, right? They're very much like prefer to be close to the West. There was some thing that came out where it's like the candidate for them, he was saying he was accused of, he already had talks with some big American companies. He wants to like privatize certain sectors of the economy and give it off to American companies to run. And these kind of, that stuff would actually be very unpopular in Turkey anyway, whether you're secular or not. But yes, bro, I think the ship has sailed on stuff like banning hijab. Like, it's too late. The country's been used to certain things now for 10, 20 years. And
Mm.
just how it took
Mm.
20 years to get to where it is now, it will take another 10 years at least, I guess, to turn it back around. So it's it's not. But, what I was saying to someone is, maybe the opposition will win. And maybe that is what is required to give the people a taste of what the opposition are like. And then the next election, it'll be another 20 years of AK Party because they'll realize how bad the opposition is. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I'm
May
not
Allah
like,
give the may
hmm,
I was just gonna make dua for them, bro. May Allah give the people of Turkey what's best for them. You know,
I mean,
politics is a messy game, and it's important not to take everything at face value. I think that's the issue. You know, a lot of journalists, a lot of news outlets, and a lot of Muslim journalists, they take things at face value, or they sensationalize things a little bit more. And there is always a lot more behind the scenes to an open and overt decision that politicians make. I don't know. I was listening to a lot of Shahid Bolton's videos recently, and
yeah.
just some of the angles that he can give to a certain situation and find the positive in it is just phenomenal. And then it makes me think, subhanallah, like, yeah, I really need to, and I've tried to really well to pipe down a bit and to pull back a bit from making any political commentary, because there's a lot more to, socio geopolitical sort of issues that than meet to the eye. Um, and there's always these principles that actually don't realize, because some decisions that maybe Muslim rulers make, they are made because if they didn't make those decisions, the West or the non-Muslims would have made it for us. And who would you rather the influence and impact come from? Would you rather it coming from a Muslim ruler? Would you rather it coming, or the Muslim country? Or would you rather it coming from America and more subjugation from the West and more kind of, neo-colonialism almost from the West? So yeah, it's a very, very it's not a game that I would ever want to play. Politics. I would never want to be a politician, because but it's a tough job, and at the end of the day, society has to function in some particular way, right? So yeah, there are
Someone
going to
got to
be
do
tough
it, Mike.
decisions made, but there's always going to be more than meets the eye. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, someone's got to do it. Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Alhamdulillah.
Actually, there's some sick videos from Shade Bolton. Actually, maybe next episode we can talk about. I know you said you don't want to talk about it, but we don't have to give our opinion. It's just there's so much going on geopolitically, that I think
Yeah,
even for the layperson, it's obvious. Like, just the world is changing. So I feel like there are two big things that are obvious obvious in terms of the world changing, and one is AI and one is geopolitics, and it's so obvious, like huge changes. So maybe we can dive into that a little bit.
inshallah, inshallah. I think it's a good time to pull the plug on this episode,
Pull the
as
plug.
blurry as
Inshallah,
it
the
may be.
delay's not too bad. And yeah, it's good to be back, bro. Look forward to getting
Absolutely.
back on the regular, inshallah, with this.
Inshallah.
As usual, you can go to mindheistpodcast.com for all the links, relevant links. All the links as well are in the description, like the Telegram group and these things. And yeah, subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, shadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.